Easy close. All right, today we're doing Masterclass Part 3. A lot of the questions here, you can go back to Masterclass Part 1 and 2 and we'll answer your questions. Today we're going to talk about the 10-cent buffer rule. We're going to talk about building out the full trading dashboard, which wasn't even mentioned in the presentation, the original sales presentation, guys. It was just a bonus I wanted to add in for you guys. We're going to talk about additional rules for increased profitability. I'm going to give you the 60-minute morning checklist for those of you who want to get through the process of trading it on your own, and then how you can target even more profits on other stocks if you want to with the unfiltered indicator. So let's get this party started. Now, you may have noticed on the indicator that there's a small line above and below the high and low prices, right? So in that first class, we talked about this range, how it sets up the high and low, and then there's this weird line outside of it. Well, that is just a small filter that I added in to help us confirm the morning direction. It simply takes the high and low price and then adds 10 cents to it. So here's the high price, we add 10 cents to it, low price, we take out 10 cents. That way we just get a little bit of a clearer close above or below because based on the testing, I saw many times it would close a penny higher and then reverse. So I just added in a 10-cent buffer to help just give us a very, very clear close above or below. And this helped us avoid a handful of trades that would have otherwise gone against us, and it increased the win rate. So it helped us filter out what looked to be breakouts, but they were like a penny, and it really wasn't an optimal momentum move in the market. Now, this 10-cent rule is just a small filter that I personally like to use, and you can manually adjust this in the code if you want to. So if you don't like it and you just want to trade the true range, what you would do in Thinkorswim is go right here to that little beaker bottle where your indicators are. Again, this is recorded, so if you want to do this later, feel free to do that. So hit that beaker bottle, and then you'll see your 60-minute breakout indicator. There's a scroll next to it. Just double click on that scroll. Once you do that, you've opened up the code here for the tool. And then you can see here, input breakout buffer. This is where that 10-cent rule is. So if you want it to be bigger, you can type a bigger number. If you want it to be zero, just put zero there. If you want it to be a percentage of ATR or percentage of close price, you could mess with that there and change out your buffer. So this is, if you want to edit it, this is where you would go. Beaker bottle, double click the scroll, edit the breakout buffer to whatever number you want to. So again, you can change it to zero, you can do a percentage of the price or whatever you prefer. I just like keeping it at 10 cents as it gives me a nice small but clear buffer on XSP and SPY. Now keep in mind, guys, SPX is 10 times the price of XSP. So I didn't change the code for SPX, but I'm looking for the confirmation on XSP and SPY, not on SPX. So hopefully that makes sense. Now, let's talk about building out the full trading dashboard if you want it for yourself. So you may have seen me post about this on Telegram. Oh, you added it in the trading view indicator as well. Awesome. Did I add it in the code there? And you may need to type out how exactly to pronounce your name because I don't want to misspeak it since you did such a great job on that code. All right, let me keep talking about this. The dashboard that we can use. This is how I view market internals as well as our signal. So if you go to the members portal, right, this is what your members portal looks like with all this stuff. If you click on that market dashboard, you can install this dashboard the same way you installed the indicator. Sets it all up for you. So how does it work? Well, there's down below you can see SPY, XSP, SPX. Those are our main tickers, right? We're all on the same page there. Up top, we have the VOLD, the ADD, and the tick. What does this mean? Well, the VOLD represents the volume difference or the net volume of stocks going up, stocks going down for the New York Stock Exchange, calculated by subtracting the total volume of declining stocks from the total volume of advancing stocks. So in theory, when this is going higher, in theory, there are more bullish transactions hitting the market than bearish based on volume of rising and falling stocks. Does that make sense? I believe you can get the 6 screens on the free version of Thinkorswim. Let me just show you here. The way you would set it up is, here's my Thinkorswim. It's like when you go to the charts, here's your charts. See flexible grid. That's where you can set up multiple screens on one. All right. So VOLD represents the total volume of advancing and declining stocks and the difference of the two. If it's flat, that means they're battling it out pretty neutral. If it's going down, that means there's more bearish transactions that day. And there is another fold that is used in the market or in the stock, world of finance. This is the one that's specifically the volume difference. There's a different fold that someone mentioned. I think it was Mark mentioned in a previous class. So if you Google Vold, make sure you're saying $ Vold and Thinkorswim. It'll give you more information on it. But essentially, when it's going up, that means bulls in theory are in control. When it's going down, that means bears in theory are in control. Next up, we have the ADD, which is the advanced decline line. It's just a breadth indicator that shows the difference between the number of advancing stocks and declining stocks on the day. So if you see here, it's not very big, but in this case, 824 stocks were net higher. So if there's 2,000 stocks out there and 1,500 are going higher and 500 are going lower, this would be 1,000, if that makes sense. So it's just, again, another quick visual of are more stocks going higher or lower that day based on the price. And this is from the close. So like today, let me pull it up again. And sorry, I will answer some of these questions here in a second. Today, interestingly enough, oh, I just lost it. If we're looking at the ADD, well, more stocks are positive than negative, right? Because we're above zero. If we're below zero, more stocks would be negative than positive. Hopefully that all makes sense. But if we're looking here at the trend, it started out the day 1,000. ADD was at 1,000, and now it's been grinding down. So stocks are falling off on the day. That's how you would interpret this. It's still technically bullish. It's still above zero, but you're seeing a fade on stocks. All right. And then this last one is just the tick, the New York Stock Exchange tick index. It tells us the number of stocks trading on an uptick minus the number of stocks trading on a downtick at that period of time. For me, this is just a good one. I mean, you can sometimes catch a trend here, but for the most part, like if I'm looking at this, and let me just make it bigger, actually. It'll be easier to see it. You just get a good idea. For example, and I don't have the SPX up here, but like, see how this was kind of in a declining mode, and then all of a sudden it came up here to the extreme highs of the day. That just kind of tells you, okay, a bullish move here probably just kind of peaked out, and we'll probably see a flush lower. Then it comes down here to the lows. So 1230, I would say the market's probably making a short-term low and will go back higher. Let's go see what happened at 1230. I honestly do not know. 1230. So there you go. Bottomed out. It didn't go much higher from there, but it did go higher. But that's essentially what I use the tick for. It just gives me an idea of, are we short-term overexhausted or overextended to the upside or downside? And today's not a very pretty picture of it. But like this one, none of these are super. I mean, they look way easier, I feel like, in my small charts. But you can kind of see, okay, here's a low, it bounces back, comes down, makes a low, bounces back. You don't need to use it too much. It just kind of gives me an idea, okay, we'll probably make a run up from here, right? It's at the lows, and that was right there. And we make a run up from there. Anyways, so that's what the three pieces of the internal dashboard are. Now, ideally, the best trades happen when all three are flowing in tandem and line up with our signal. So the Vold's going higher, the ADD's going higher, and the tick is in an upwards trend, and we get a buy calls, right? We can all see this, right? 1, 2, 3, buy calls. That is perfect, right? This is very helpful if you want to try to be, want to be smart on which trades to take or pass on, or if you want to, know about your position sizing. Maybe when 2 of the 3 line up, you put in $500, but when all 3 line up, you go in with 1,000. It's up to you, obviously, but this is just another insight under, looking under the hood if you want the best, most high conviction entry. So again, all 3 line up, that's a very, very high conviction entry to the upside. All 3 going down, that's a very, very high conviction entry to the downside. Now let me show you some of our losers that we had. Check this out. Volt going higher, ADD going higher, tick going higher. We had a buy put signal. We ended up losing on this one. Now, I have seen it, to be clear, I have seen it where this works out, but it's just not a very high conviction trade. I will still send out the alert. I will still put my own money into it because I follow the system no matter what. But for those of you who are trying to just get an extra edge position sizing, maybe you don't want to take every trade, this is what you should be looking at. Here's another example. July 9th, buy calls, right? Bold was going higher. That's good. ADD was going lower. Tick was going lower. We ended up taking a loser that day. Only one of the three aligned. June 11th was kind of a mixed bag. Bold going higher, ADD fallen, tick fallen. It did not work out. Now keep this in mind. We have had plenty of winners when there aren't all three aligned. Actually, today, does anyone know what happened today? We traded to the long side. We bought calls. We won. Bold started off the day. Let's see if I can get it. It started off the day looking like it was going to be going down. I thought. Because ADD was also going down. Tick was also going down. We had a buy call entry. We ended up making money. Volt ended up turning around, turning bullish for us. ADD, again, it's still positive on the day, but it's still fading. So it would not be a high conviction entry. Tick still fading, not like a perfect entry, but we got the breakout. We followed the rules. We made money. So just to be clear, you don't need all of them to align for it to work out. It just helps you uh, find the higher conviction entries when they're all three aligning. Let me take a pause there and make sure that makes sense. Can you let us know when all three align on the trades? No, Doug, I will not be doing that. I do not want to clutter the channel. Sometimes I post in little snapshots after, but I don't have time to let you guys know entry, exit, fill price, and all three aligning. But that's why I wanted to give you guys this dashboard so you can have it for yourself. It is in the members portal. So if you go to the one-click trading portal, pulled up over here. All right, one-click trading portal. Let me go to 60-minute income. Scroll down, market dashboard, right there. I take bigger stakes when everything aligns. I also look at VIX and gold. There you go. So you're just, yeah, extra layers of confirmation allow you to be a little bit smarter with the trade. All right, so that is available for you in the members portal. Any questions there so far? Anything else that I missed? I don't have it for TradingView, Dave, but if TradingView has the Vold, ADD, and Tick, you should be able to build it yourself. I would think. They're all free tickers. It's just a setup I like in Thinkorswim better. Um, yes, it is a debit spread. Do the three SPY indices also have to be aligned? RJ, they should be. They should trade very similarly. Like see SPY, XSP, SPX, they look almost identical. There can sometimes be small price discrepancies, but we just want to see confirmation where both SPY and XSP give us the signal. Gary says it's fairly easy to install in Thinkorswim. Thank you. Need help with Tasty Trade? Yeah, they should have plenty of tutorial videos. I had a Tasty Trade account. I just use Thinkorswim now. Can I show you how, guys, if you have questions about your brokerage, YouTube is a very good resource for you. Like how to place a trade on a phone app. Just go to YouTube and search how to place a debit spread on Thinkorswim phone app. And I bet you that there will be some very good helpful walkthroughs for you. All right. Sorry, I've got a lot of questions here. Do you have to be in the money to profit? Technically, we don't have to be all the way in the money to profit. Just depends on the strike selected that day. All right. Why Ben 1? If SPX call entries at 6,300, what would be the 50% profit target line? That just depends on what your entry price was. it would be your entry price times 1.5. All right, so let's keep moving here because again, halfway through this class and I'm about a third of the way through this presentation and I got to get off right at 2. But another filter for increased profitability, and this is kind of a fun one. So daily options were listed in 2022, so I went and looked to see what happens if we play with some different probabilities or some different indicators here, specifically the VIX. So the VIX is a volatility index. It's a fear gauge, but it really just tells us how much volatility is in the market in the sense of how our options price is reacting. When it spikes, typically that's coming after a drop or just big moves in the S&P. And so what happens when that happens? Well, on some rare occasion, the VIX spikes overnight. So I went ahead and tested this just since we had daily options listed on SPX. What happens if you only trade when the VIX does a 10% plus spike overnight? And we need to add one to this list because we just had a winner the other day doing this. But funny enough, when volatility increases, our trade only gets better. So if VIX 10% plus overnight spike, it only happened now 10 times over the last few years, but it's won every single time, which is pretty cool to see. So if you see a day where VIX is up 10% plus overnight, obviously don't bet the whole farm. Never do that because there is going to be a case where it's not going to work out. But you may know, or you may have a good feeling that, hey, I've got a little extra edge here. Volatility's increased. We know our trade works better when VIX is up, especially when it's up double digits overnight. So maybe it's a bigger position sizing day for you. Does that make sense? So the other day, I think I mentioned it in the Telegram too, just so you guys had a heads up. But when VIX is up, typically that means markets are just moving faster, which means we can get to our target quicker. In this case, when VIX was 10% plus overnight, it won 100% of the time. All right. On that same light, what about using a minimum VIX? And this is actually crazy. So check this out. By just taking the trade each and every day, $100,000 turned into $844,000, right? We can see that. These are our base rules, taking the trade every day. What about if we said, let's only trade if VIX is at or above 15? Well, we ended up taking, so like total trades 301 here. We originally had 438 trades. Well, now we eliminated those trades where VIX was low. So we had 300 trades. So we took less trades, but profitability actually increased, which is very interesting to me. So again, if VIX is below 15, maybe you don't want to be taking these trades right then. Again, I will follow the system. I will give you the trade no matter what, but this is just additional filters for increased profitability. Obviously, profitability increased there. So, or yes, Jeff, or just lower position sizing. Exactly right. So this is something to keep. Actually, you might want to add it to your. Maybe I should add it on my dashboard instead of having 6 things, have 7 and throw VIX on there too. I've got it on my watch list so I can easily just see the price. All I really care about is the current price and percent change. I don't really need to see the chart because I need to know is VIX above 15 or how much percentage is it spiking overnight. Those are my key numbers there. But these are just 2 little nuggets here for increased profitability. Again, the takeaway here is more VIX equals more volatility or more movement, which means we can get to our targets a little bit faster versus a slow market kind of moves like this. And it takes a little bit longer to get to our target. A quicker market goes like more like today. You guys probably saw today's price action went shoop, right out of the gate. VIX is above 15. All right, if VIX is less than 15, would we need even smaller moves in general? Vlad, a good question. The options prices should reflect it, yes. So you would need a smaller move than if VIX was, say, 30. You are correct. But it also implies that maybe it might not get there. And again, I didn't look at each individual day. I just ran the testing and just messed around with VIX to see if it played a factor, and sure enough, it did. Barbara, where can we monitor the VIX? I just threw it here on my watch list. So you can see VIX right here. VIX is down overnight. Oops, let me do this. VIX is down overnight, still above 15, but you can see, I think this was the day. One of these days I told you VIX was up 10% overnight. It was like 15, 20%. Yeah, here. So see how it jumped overnight? And I just told you guys, hey guys, historically it means we got a really good chance of winning. Of course, I'm not looking at the chart. I just look here at the percentage. So above 15, VIX is down today. I'm still taking the trade, but if we were above 15 and had a 10% spike, I would know, wow, this is really, really high conviction trade day. It was last Friday, yes. So you can monitor it by just typing in VIX, VIX. You tried to search, but no one has a tutorial on how to trade on phone or Thinkorswim. Let me go ahead and send you a video. How to place a debit spread on Think or Swim mobile. Alrighty.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Thinkorswim.
Here you go. I'm just going to post this in the chat. If you guys want to know how to do it on Thinkorswim mobile, there you go. Can I run a test to see what win rate and average return would be if you set a profit target for 40% or 30%? I can. I don't think I'll have time to do it today, given my hard cutoff time. But Nathan, you should honestly get an Option Omega account or some back testing account. I know you're very involved with this and like to look at all those different options. It'd probably be worth your while. They're really not too hard to get started with. They used to be much more difficult where you had to do a lot of manual coding. They've made them very user friendly now. Like Option Omega is very user friendly, in my opinion, and you can test all sorts of things. Today would have been a great day to enter a zero DT odd spread on Apple. You got to get better chat. Yeah. I will talk about that here in a minute. John, you are right that Apple, when we say we want to, if we're getting a bullish breakout, we want to trade the strongest bullish stocks. And you are exactly right to say Apple is that. In fact, let me just make sure unfiltered is on. So yeah, look at that, John. That would have been Megan. This is not a normal move for Apple. Let's just be clear, but that is perfect. However, I might not have done that because they were all three aligning at the open. All right. Yeah, that link I sent you should work for doing the debit spreads. Do I trade the same size regardless? I currently do. Yeah, I just keep it real simple. I mean, this is a full-time job for me doing everything, the opening playbook, closing playbook, all the trade alerts, all the information I try to provide for you. So I just like to keep it consistent, keeps my brain, one less thing to worry about. But for you guys, I just want to be able to give you guys as much helpful feedback as possible on sizing. I honestly love this strategy so much. The results are so good that I have no problem trading the same size every time because I know over time, obviously I can't predict the future, but I know historically over time it pays out very nicely if I just stay consistent. All right. To do it is my favorite. It's the most fun I've been having in my 15, 16 years of doing this. All right. So again, more VIX typically means better for us. Next up, let's cover the 60-minute trade cheat sheet, and I'll post this in the chat. It's also in the members portal. But this is just for you guys. I know some of you guys like to learn. We say, I can give you the fish. I can also teach you how to fish. This is a helpful tool. This is your fishing rod here if you want to learn to do this on your own. And it just takes you through the same steps that I would go through each day so you can get practice in. You don't need to do this, but for those of you who want to learn, want to get the hang of it, get under your belt, these are the steps. So again, identify that 15-minute opening high and low price. Obviously, your indicator does that for you, but if you want to go through the steps, that's what you do. Then you pre-select the zero DTE expiration options as a wrap order. Remember, we're always doing a debit spread. You can do a credit if you want, but I do a debit spread using calls for a bullish breakout, puts for a bearish breakout. That way we have an idea which options we'll be trading. Of course, after you do a couple of these on your own, if you want to, you don't necessarily need to do this step, but it can be helpful so you're not scrambling or feeling like you have to scramble when we do get an entry. And then you just check back the indicator every 5-minute candle close. So you check it in at 10 or 9:50, 9:55, 10 a.m., 10:05, 10:10, et cetera, until we get that entry. Now remember, make sure you get the entry confirmation. Let me just say, with confirmation on both SPY, and XSP. So once you get the entry confirmation, you can place your trade, check your entry fill price, set the profit target, multiplying your contract by 1.5. That's if you want 50%. And then you're done. Again, I put this in the members portal just for those of you who want to start getting those repetitions in. So this becomes second nature to you guys. Eventually, you won't even need the cheat sheet. But if you want to start getting those practice reps in on your own, this is the steps that I take. And ideally, again, I will happily send you the trade alerts each and every day. What I don't want is uh, worst case scenario, I get hit by a bus tomorrow and you guys are out on the 60-minute income when we found such an amazing strategy here. I don't want that to, throw everything off for you. I want you to be able to do it. Now, obviously, I'm not going to go jump in front of any buses, but you get the idea. How do I get the high and low range price from the indicator? Yes, right here. So let me just see if I can get this to, there we go. All right. XSP today. So this morning, let me just show you. It looked more like this. So here we can see the high, low prices, 636, 630, 636 or so. Obviously, broke out above it, so it's 637. You could try to wrap this. It would just be very expensive. And to someone's question yesterday, why would I do a $2 strike? This would be a good example of when you could do a $2 strike. Instead, I just went one strike out of the money. It'd be a little bit cheaper. But this is how you see the prices. Indicator tells it to you. Matt, retired bus driver here. See, you won't hit me now, Matt, because you're retired. Um, Doug, do I think it will work in all market environments? I don't think every trade will work every single day, but I do think that this trade has been very consistent in all market environments, all market environments over the years. All right. If you are getting in late from your confirmation, how do you know if it's still valid to take the trade or when to pass? I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. If it gets outside of this window, I'd pass. Yes, 10 cents above the indicator range. Again, SPX is going to be like nothing because it's 10 times the price. You can't even see it. I mean, I really have to zoom in to see this 10-cent buffer here. There you go. But since I use SPX and SPY as my main gauge, that's where the 10-cent buffer makes sense. You need part of the body candle to close outside. Yes. So you just need the close outside. So it doesn't matter if it closed here, as long as it closed outside. Now, if it closed here, below that line, it would not be an entry. So the high price on that candle, low price on that candle does not matter. It's where it closes. Does a $2 strike force it to likely take longer to hit the target? Not necessarily, RJ. If this morning you did 636 and 637, you probably would have hit by now, but it would, because it's going to be a more expensive option, it's going to need more decay to hit. Versus a wider strike here would hit quicker. The out of the money strike may hit quickest. It just depends. How do I select the SPX strikes? If you go back to the masterclass part 2, I walk you through that. Does a lower ROI increase the win rate? Yes, a lower target would increase your win rate. It may not increase your profitability, though. What candle am I going off of? 5-minute charts here. It has to close above the 10-cent buffer for our indicator to fire, yes. All right. Let's keep on going. All right, let's talk here next about the unfiltered version of the 60-minute income indicator. If you're a lifetime member, you have this version of the indicator. If you're not a lifetime member, you just have the base indicator, so you won't be able to do this. However, I will try and, I don't know where I put that link. If you want to become a lifetime member and get the indicator for yourself, let me just send you the link here in the chat. Again, no pressure. That's the link to get lifetime access to 60-minute income, and it gives you the unfiltered indicator as well. Doug says that is a no-brainer. Thank you, Doug. So this allows you to apply our daily trade strategy to any ticker you want to trade. Apple, Tesla, Microsoft, Bitcoin. That same filter goes on the charts for any stock out there. So that's when I was showing you like Apple today. See it, buy calls, very clear. Works on any ticker market wide. Um, yes, any ticker, anytime. This can allow you to target even more profits each day. Now, again, let me walk you through how I prefer to use it. You are free to do whatever it is that your heart desires with this tool. I want you to trade however you want to and hopefully make great money with it. However, this is how I would do it. I would only trade this, preferably speaking, on days where everything aligns. So remember, our internals all pointing down, we get buy puts. That's a good time to be trading it. Versus today, like today obviously ended up being a great day to trade it. There are days where it's a great day to trade it, but we didn't really have all aligning. We had ADD going down, tick going down, Vold going higher. Might not be the most high conviction day to go to your unfiltered code and trade everything. With that said, if you did, I mean, you obviously had some great opportunities like Apple, Netflix. Let's see what Google taking the fastest stocks to the upside. But typically, I would look at your market dashboard that I've given you, and when all align and with our signal aligns, then I would look to trade this. I got a thumbs down on my video. I don't know why that happened. That's cool. Um, so for example, like this would be a day when you see this in the morning, you see buy calls, you then flip to the unfiltered to go see if you can get some additional profits. All pointing to the downside, buy puts, flip to your unfiltered and see if there's additional profits. Now, I still take the base trade. Still take the base trade. We're going to use that as our guide. But when all of these aligned, we can go for extra profits from other stocks. So the first thing you want to do is when they all align, you get your signal. We want to find the stocks leading the move. So let's just pretend today is one of those days. I have a list of stocks that I actively trade. You can see that here. These are stocks I'm very familiar with, ones I like to trade. However, you can use different watch lists you want to. You can use a Newton watch list or anything that floats your boat, but you just want to be trading the fastest, best one of the day. So like, for example, today everything aligned. I saw we're buying calls. I would then see Apple. Here's at my top of my list. Buy calls. I can trade Apple. See what Robinhood looks like. Same thing. Buy calls, trade Robinhood. Netflix, top of the list. Buy calls, trade Netflix, et cetera, et cetera. I don't even know what Tesla looks like. Oops. So it should align. That is a huge opening range. Holy cow. All right. So when we get the breakout and everything's aligning, pick the fastest. What you don't necessarily want to do, I mean, you can. What you don't want to do is trade stocks at the bottom of the list. Those are not your high conviction entries. Now, if today was a bearish entry, you would. I would just come here to my watch list and I would sort for the worst stocks of the day. So like if today was a bearish entry, I would buy puts on Carvana, which actually ended up working even on a bullish day. So look at ANET, buy puts, same thing. So again, when all aligned, find the stocks leading to the move. If it's a bullish breakout, find the strongest stocks. If it's a bearish breakout, find the weakest stocks. Then use the entry and exit signals from SPX or XSP as your core trade guideline. So when you get the entry on SPX or XSP, you can then enter Apple. And then when you get the fill on XSP, you then take an exit on Apple. Does that make sense? Let me pull up the chat. I want to make sure that makes sense on how to use how to know when to enter, how to know when to exit. John says yes. Sharon says, please repeat. Okay. So if I have the unfiltered indicator and everything aligns on the markets, it looks good. You see the bullish income entry. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my core trade. This is the most important trade to me. Then if I want to go find additional setups, I would then go find Apple today, Netflix, whatever was at the top of the list saying buy calls and enter at this, right after I get my main trade entry. So we all know when to enter, right? We enter at the same time. All right. And then now, how do we know when to exit? So let's say I went long Apple this morning. Things are going great. How do I know when to exit? Well, you guys can play with things you want. I found that I really like it when the second I hear my Thinkorswim go bling, I made money on SPX. That means the break, that continuation has been met, and I'm going to go ahead and take profits on Apple as well. Now, you guys can play around with it. Feel free to play with maybe two profit targets, stop losses, whatever you want. But the general rule is let the SPX or XSP be your guide. Enter at the same time, exit at the same time. Keeps it nice and simple. Correct, Mitch. I'm waiting for the XSP or S to tell me the direction I want to trade. And then I go flip to those. Yes, Mark. Exactly right. Okay, now we're getting some questions about the options. Let me go ahead and just repeat this one more time, then we'll talk about that. So again, when you buy calls or puts, or you enter when you get the buy call signal, you're looking for the good strong stocks. If we get the buy put signal, we're looking for the weak stocks. And then we just exit when our target hits. So on this day, bullish, 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 right? Buy calls, we see it. O'Reilly, red hot, buy calls, and then you sell when XSP hit the target, which I'm not even sure when that was on this day. But you get the gist of it. Now, which calls to buy? This is my general rule of thumb. I look to buy the weekly options. Again, I typically am not looking for a spread. I'm looking for the weekly options with no less than 4 days till expiration. So today I would not be trading today's expiration. I'd be trading next Friday's expiration. The reason why I'm okay with just trading a basic call here, not a spread, is because we're typically in the trade for an hour or two. We're not holding it for multiple days. So we're not going to eat a ton of time decay versus with our main trade, our 60-minute income trade, we're using same day expiration. So the time decay is just wicked. But if we're going to trade an individual stock, which doesn't have zero DTE, if they all had zero DTE, you would definitely just trade it the same way with the bullish debit spread. But since they don't, I would look for expiration 4 to 10 days out at the money call or in the money. Mark, yes. And then again, sell when it hits its target. Same thing to the downside. This day, all three pointing down. Meta was one of the worst stocks that day. Buy basic puts 4 to 10 days till expiration. Take profits when XSP hits the target or SPX, whichever you're using. Yeah, I would just trade out. You can go. Hey, here's the thing, guys. We're asking should you go at the money, out of the money, in the money. Let me just be clear. At the money is going to be like the middle ground of pros and cons. In the money, you are going to have a lot less time decay, but your upside is going to move a little bit slower. So if the markets are moving slower that day, and Meta kind of chugs lower but doesn't drop fast, the in the money is going to be the best option. However, on days like was it yesterday where they fell from the sky, or 2 days ago, whenever it was, on the days where things are moving faster, out of the money is going to earn a lot more. So out of the money is just a little bit more speculative, a little bit higher reward when it works out, but more risk as well of it not working out. That's why I think at the money is just a happy middle ground. Now, for those of you who are more sophisticated and do want to trade spreads, be my guest. But again, if today is Monday and I'm trading Meta, the earliest expiration I can have is that Friday. So the spreads just aren't going to move that much because there's still a lot of time left in the week versus the calls and puts will move a lot more. Now, if today's Friday and you're a little bit more sophisticated, today is a day where you could use zero DTE the same exact way we use XSP and SPX. Just do a wrap with calls, same exact process that we went through on Masterclass Part 2, and you should see some pretty rapid returns on Fridays. Same sort of thing for Thursdays. But generally speaking, if you want to just follow along with basic calls and puts, just 4 to 10 days till expiration at the money is the easiest way to do it. Linda, what tickers have zero DT? It's just the main, like the S&P, NASDAQ. I think IWM does. Um, but like Apple, Tesla, Nvidia, they don't. They have weekly options. No, Nathan, it does not. It can work good for earnings days, like after a company reported earnings, just because there's a lot of volatility. Oh, gold has it as well, zero DT. There you go. But we're not holding these overnight or anything, so I'm not going to hold it through earnings. So these bonus opportunities, sometimes some days you'll get 25% profits. Again, just letting the XSP be your guide. Some days when things move very fast, you'll see those massive ones. So like the other day when stocks were falling from the sky, I bet you all the stocks that were leading that downside move that would have triggered, you could have taken it. Those options probably would have been paying pretty massively. But just keep in mind, not every day is going to be huge outsides moved. We're just looking to pick up a little uh, extra money here and there where we can when things align. You can trade it every day. Again, I am giving you this tool to trade at your own will, at your own disposal. My personal preference is let them all align, trade in that direction with the weakest stocks, right? Let them all align, trade in that direction with the strongest stocks. Weekly options are one or zero on Thursday and Friday. Yes. So if you're trading on Thursday, it would be one DT. If you wanted to do a wrap order, again, if you're doing it on Monday for Friday expiration, it's not going to move that much, which is why I say just do the calls and puts. But if it's Thursday or Friday, like definitely on Friday, you're going to see some pretty rapid moves. Mark says Tasty Trade may close you out about 2:30 Eastern if a margin account with zero DT. Interesting. Yeah, I use Thinkorswim. I don't have that issue. And that Mark, that may be just yeah for the tickers with exercisable shares. I'm not. Would that does that apply for SPX and XSP for you? David said he's never had Tasty do that to him. Interesting. Stock trades are only done closed to the time of XSP or SPX morning trades, not throughout the day. Again, you have the indicator to use at your disposal. If you want to trade every time it gives you a signal on any stocks you like that day, be my guest. I think the best way to apply it is get the direction from the broad market first, then flip to the stocks that are leading or lagging that day, depending on your direction, and let it rip from there. All right, I've got a few more minutes before I have to hop off here, but I'd be happy to hang around, answer any more questions you have. Again, if you want the unfiltered, it comes with lifetime access, which to me, hopefully you're enjoying the trades enough where lifetime seems like a no-brainer. But if not, don't no worries, no pressure. I'm not here to twist your arm. Um, yes, Devon, we will. Glenn, lifetime well worth it. Awesome. I have lifetime access, but for stocks, which time frame is best for swing trade? It's 5 minute charts. Always using the 5 minute chart. And that's where the indicator should show up for you. Awesome. What watch list do you use prefer, Keith? I have a list of stocks that I trade in. I'll add to it and I'll take some away from it. I wonder if I can copy and paste this. Let me just see if I can do this. This is not I don't always use this watch list, but this is the one I'm currently working with right now. I'll just post it here in the chat. You may need to check it tomorrow. I don't know if that worked or not for you guys. I just exported my current watch list. Those are the stocks that I've had success trading. That said, sometimes, I will no longer enjoy trading Coinbase and I'll take it off. Or like ServiceNow right now is on the list. I might be taking that one off soon. Just hasn't been that good. And then I'll find a new stock I like to trade and I'll add it to that list. But if you don't want that, like the Newton list would be a good one. I would edit the Newton list to be ones that are currently positive and currently negative momentum, just because you'll get a good follow through. Oh wow, look at this. I'm looking at this right now. Yesterday we had buy puts on SPX, ISRG. That would have been a nice one to time up unfiltered. But hopefully that link worked for you guys if you want my current watch list. Um, Today only taking small number of contracts, made 176 bucks. Awesome. It's normally $1 strikes. I normally use $1 strikes on XSP. RJ, I just posted it here, but here if you want. Here's every stock that's currently on my watch list. If I can get it to fit in the screen. There you go. Here, let me resort it just so it's there you go. Nova Nordis, I just added it. I just bought a bunch of Nova Nordis um, in my retirement account. Today was my first day, made 180 bucks. Awesome. Love to hear it. The Thinkorswim dashboard and everything is in your members portal. So go to your members portal, scroll down. It'll say market dashboard, and one will say 60-minute income indicator. There will be install links there for you. Dave, normally I get $1,000 or $2,000 each day. That's awesome. I cannot believe Apple right now. I think it's insane. I love this daily consistent strategy. Awesome, RJ. All right, guys, I do have to log off now. I've got a hard stop at 2 o'clock, but thank you all for being here. This is recorded in the members area. Part 1, 2, and 3 are in there for you to review and access at any time. Thank you guys so much. Look forward to an awesome week with you again next week. See you then.